Poet, writer, activist Maya Angelou wrote, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." These insights I'm sharing on today's episode will help you build a writing practice, find your voice, and sharpen your craft. Whether you're writing fiction, non-fiction, poetry, or other, I'm sharing timeless writing tips inspired by some of the greatest Black women writers of all time. I'll drop the names and the works in the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll drop them in the description below. So let's get to the tips. Tip number 1, rhythm, routine, and rituals. Nowadays especially, we are very overstimulated. Our minds are going in a million and one different directions at a really fast pace. It can be a challenge to get quiet, tap into your creativity, and write. So we need these things, rituals and rhythm. You don't necessarily have to write for hours every day. If you don't have hours every day, that's okay. You just need to set a rhythm. Maybe you're going to write every other day at a certain time. Stick with that time. Stick with the every other day. Or if it's on the weekends or at your lunchtime or after work, whenever it is, try as much as you can to set a rhythm if that's possible for you. You're doing this so that you get your mind and your heart into the mode of writing so you can get into flow. Creating rituals around your writing can help you create habits that you stick to. Rituals also help you get into the state of flow faster. Flow is a state where you're immersed in your writing, you're undistracted, and you're tapped into your creativity. And writing rituals can help you to get into flow each time you sit to write. An example of a unique writing ritual was that of Maya Angelou. She would wake up early in the morning and check into a hotel room. Yes, you heard correctly. She would check into a hotel room. Usually the hotel room was stripped bare of any distractions from the walls. Maya Angelou would request that because she didn't want many distractions. She would write on legal pads while lying in bed, and that was her writing time. That was all she would do there while she was in the hotel. Now, we can't all rent hotel rooms to write. The point is understanding how rituals provide structure, how we can use them as stepping stones to enter into your writing space. So, create a routine or rituals that signal to your brain and your heart that it's time to write. Maybe writing at the same time, or lighting a candle, or drinking a certain cup of tea, or just setting the mood with some type of music. Whatever it is, create some type of rituals, and the key is consistency. Tip number 2, write for yourself first. Editor, writer, and novelist Toni Morrison gave one of the most liberating pieces of writing advice. Write the book you want to read. We can think of this as writing a book that you want to read but haven't come across yet. But we can also use this quote as a permission slip to let go of the pressure to please others or fit into the mold. Always ask yourself, would you want to read your book? Would you be eager to read it? This helps us to remain true throughout the process. Authenticity is a writer's greatest strength. In a world where Black women's voices are often ignored or unjustly labeled negatively, your book isn't the time to stifle your voice. I know you spent a chunk of your life tiptoeing around people who were too fragile for you to bear the full breadth and depth of who you are, but this isn't the time for tiptoeing when it comes to your book. Ask yourself, what do I want to say? What story do I need to tell? Start there. Always remember that authenticity is your rocket fuel. Use it. In Audre Lorde's 1977 phenomenal piece, The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action, she opens the piece extolling the virtues and benefits of self-expression. She talks about speaking and how speaking words is liberating, but it's the same speaking or writing. This is about expressing yourself. States Lorde, I have come to believe over and over again that what is most important to me must be spoken, made verbal and shared, even at the risk of having it bruised or misunderstood. That the speaking profits me beyond any other effect. Use your book as a powerful tool for your self-expression. write for yourself first. Also, with this concept of writing for yourself, we have to strip ourselves of frameworks. Writer, dramatist, and philosopher Sylvia Wynter challenges the Western-dominated concept of humanness. What it means to be human was put forth by those who thought differently and, ironically, inhumanely. We, Black people, Black women, were excluded from the equation of what it was and what it is to be human. Our writing is a way to write ourselves into existence. We are human, we are here, we are powerful, and we create. The act of writing centers us in the world at large and in our inner world as we throw off the shackles of internalized oppression. Write for yourself first. Yes, you're writing for your audience. They come second, or maybe even third, but you write for yourself first. Tip number 3, use your voice as a tool for change. Sylvia Wynter reminds us of the revolutionary power of storytelling. Stories don't just reflect reality, they create it. Literature shapes our understanding of humanity. For centuries, our stories were not told. Others wrote about us when it was convenient or for spectacle, and what they wrote was degrading and dismissive of us as the powerful creative beings that we are. Through our writing, we are challenged to disrupt dominant narratives and imagine new ones, asking, what does it mean to be a human outside of the colonial framework? As a Black woman, when you write, you have a powerful lens to write through. Embrace complexity. Ask yourself, am I writing through the status quo? What dominant narratives exist about the characters or topic that I'm exploring? Then challenge those assumptions and push your imagination to craft narratives and break assumptions. This is your creativity coming forward. When you write, think about this. Are you reinforcing the status quo, or are you imagining possibilities beyond it? Writing, as Wynter teaches us, is an act of rehumanization. It's a way to envision a world where everyone's story matters. Your writing can be fun and lighthearted, of course, but it can also educate and inspire. Angela Davis, renowned for her activism, advocated and practiced deep research through her writing. She once said, "Radical simply means grasping things at the root." So when you write about social issues, for example, whether it's fiction or non-fiction you're doing this through, root your words in truth and lived experience. Your writing can be a tool for change. Tip number 4, separate your writing and editing. Be present when you're writing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to write and edit at the same time. You will go in circles. Leave the judgment outside of the room. Revision and editing is judging. When you do this while you write, you're in critical mode, you're not in creative mode. Poet and writer Lucille Clifton also emphasized discipline, but with a twist. She believed in letting the words flow naturally. Don't edit while you write. Get the words down first. Editing comes later. And then, when it comes to editing, then you can be ruthless. Toni Morrison emphasized the importance of cutting out anything that doesn't serve the story or the piece. Less can truly be more. But just always remember to separate the editing process from the writing process. They are not the same. Tip number 5, find ways to fuel your creativity. Writer, poet, and activist Alice Walker reminds us to honor our creative roots. She wrote, "The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any." Your creativity is your power. Don't ever underestimate it. Creativity gets blocked when we're out of alignment and overstressed, but it doesn't have to stay blocked. Black women, we are beacons of creativity. Look around. Observe how we move, how you move. Creativity flows through your veins. Do the things that keep your creative fire burning. For some of us, that's walking daily, connecting with nature, or deep relaxation, or bonding with our friend girls, or cooking delicious meals, singing, painting, crafting, whatever it is for you. Find the things that stoke your creative fire and keep the kindling burning. Lucille Clifton offers the beautiful reminder, You might as well answer the door, my child. The truth is furiously knocking. Writing is about answering that knock, even when it's hard. Trust yourself and trust the process. Writing is an act of courage, creativity, and connection. Take these tips and make them your own. And remember, your voice matters, your story matters, your words matter. Thanks for tuning in for the first episode of the Published Sistas podcast.